I see two major challenges. One of them is cost, because managements all over the place are really challenged to cut costs, and testing is often perceived to be overly expensive and overly slow. Jerry Weinberg would ask the question, as compared to what? But as compared, say, to development. But nevertheless, that's a perception, and it's something that we all have to deal with as testers. The second thing I would say is the class system in software development. Testers are often way down on the rung of the class system. And there are a lot of people who believe that testing can be done by anybody. It's not perceived by some people to be a highly skilled occupation, and I believe that it is. But we need to raise that perception, and I think there are a number of ways we need to do that. But those, I think, are the two principal things, and they play into each other, because if you have people who are perceived to be interchangeable and replaceable, and in fact sometimes just dispensable, and you need to cut costs, guess where you cut? The first thing I recommend they do is say no. We get paid to tell the truth. And that's one of the other really important things about being a tester, not simply skill, but mindset and integrity. We are paid to tell the truth, and we're paid to tell the truth to power. That's sometimes a very scary thing to do, particularly if you're a junior employee, as sometimes people are when they're testers. But it's something that we absolutely must do. So that's the very first thing I tell people. I also tell them a number of strategies that they should employ simply when they're doing their work before a problem arises. And one of those is to ensure that they keep good records as they go along, that they publish their records, and that they stick very carefully to facts, not emotion. They should also be considering what their alternatives are, always. And they should be watching out for the warning signs that they might be asked to lie. So if they're on a troubled project, if you're on a project where dates are being missed or the company is bleeding money, there's a very good chance that somebody above you is going to panic. They may start deceiving others, and they may start putting pressure on you to do that or to support what they're doing. So it's a very dangerous position for a tester to be in. It's also, of course, not always a situation of deliberate lying. It's a situation where people have deceived themselves. And having deceived themselves, they want that position supported. And again, it can put pressure on a tester. Rather than telling them to improve their testing process, I would tell people improve your testing skills. And look at the full range of skills. Look at your technical skills in terms of your understanding of how programs are put together and how software is put together. But I would also say, and your testing skills, the actual test technical skills, how to test, how to design testing, how to think about testing, how to use your mind, your thinking skills, in fact. Yesterday, Julian Hardy talked about using the 6 thinking hats of Edward de Bono. Look at all kinds of ways to improve your thinking ability, but also look at the so-called, and I hate this term, soft skills. Look at how to work better with people, how to understand people, how to improve the way you communicate with people, how to build teams, how to be a member of a team, how to work collaboratively, so that you improve your whole range of skills. And you always have a toolbox. You always have a kit of techniques that you can call upon. Don't wed yourself to any one way of doing things. Always look at the context. Always look at what other people are doing and see what you can learn from them, whether that's in writing or on the web or going to conferences or anything else. Just keep learning. In some ways, I think it's very positive, and in some ways, I think it's very negative. And I think that entirely depends on how Agile is implemented. I mean, the Agile Manifesto itself is so wonderful, and it's so, it's motherhood. I mean, you look at the, people over processes and all of those things, those are wonderful and high value to the customer. But there are some teams that are very rigid in how they implement Agile, and they see, it's very programmer-centric in some implementations, and they don't see the value of other skill sets and other mindsets. I think testers have a very important part to play in Agile. people need to be open to that. So that's one way in which it can be negative. And another way, I think it's tremendously positive. The opportunity for collaboration, breaking down the artificial barriers that have occurred in some teams. And actually, going back to the question of lying, Agile has very rapid feedback loops, and everything is much more visible than it is in projects where everything's under the covers and for 8 months, and suddenly things get into test, and then they break. You have a much better chance of a whole sort of more honest development framework, and I think that's very, very positive.